You wake up in your house, you can't remember a thing, and not only that, you are terribly drunk, with a cold, and dealing with something far more nasty brewing underneath. If this sounds familiar, you might be thinking of the well-known CDDA challenge in Project Zomboid, arguably one of the most difficult starting scenarios to date. But did you know that the challenge actually took inspiration from another game start? And that game is Cataclysm: Dark Days Ahead. A community-driven project that has, in my opinion, one of the most fleshed-out crafting systems and gameplay ever seen. So today, I thought it'd be fun to go back to my masochistic roots and try to survive this start on a whole new game as well. Wish me luck, because after trying this challenge, I can say with confidence that it shook me to my core with how difficult it truly was to survive. Also, little note, I will be narrating over this video in a script compared to my usual type of content, mostly because I forgot to unmute my mic, and I am too stubborn to simply restart and leave it at that. Let me know if you enjoy it. This is gonna be a new one for me. Same scenario, same character, different game. Welcome to hell yet again, trash. As you see, we are dealing with quite the cocktail of statuses, and it's not looking good for us. At all. But we do have a few things going for us, mainly being a marathon runner that's quick on his feet, which is nice because all we will be doing is running for our lives. And I'd say the three things we need in order to survive this challenge goes as follows. I need to escape this town somewhere remote and safe. I also need clothing so I don't freeze to death in the blistering December temps. And lastly, I need antibiotics to stop the zombie infection from killing me. And if I can't find it, I have a solid 30% chance to live. That's a lot to actually acquire, especially when our character is so weak that they can't fight a single zombie without dying horribly. Despite that, I do have a lot of optimism for this trash, which kind of went out the window as soon as I saw that zombies were already making their way to my location. I soon decided to join my optimism with the window idea and make my way through the streets, narrowly avoiding death in the jaws of a zombie dog. I broke its ankles and made my way through the building, being chased by a freaky feral zombie. I accidentally opened the wrong door to a closet, realized this room was actually my tomb, and promptly got ripped apart by a group of zombies. Yeah. Here's to try number 2 then. Life 2. This time around, I had actually spawned within a shop, and more importantly, it's a pawn shop, which had a very nice set of stainless steel cosplay replica armor in the corner. Junk or not, it was sure a morale boost knowing my defenseless and naked body had a new layer of protection. After looting what I could, I decided my best chance of actually getting out of here was to climb rooftops and hop between each building to try and find a working car to skedaddle the hell out of there with, especially seeing how the cold was slowly killing trash the more time I spent outside. It went well so far, with trash dodging the grasps of the undead, and soon after, I spotted a nice looking armored car, so I decided to risk it. I made it there, only to realize the damn thing didn't have a steering wheel. The zombies then made it through the open side door and, yeah, they opened up old Trashy like a can of food. This is gonna be a long one. Dying 2 times in a row really did not feel good at all, so I knew something needed to change with life number 3. The other 2 attempts were pitiful at survival. So in order to counteract that, I set my actions into overdrive and threw myself out of the now unsafe home. With a horde following me, I hopped a fence and was able to give him the old slipperoonie. Now that I was relatively undetected, I climbed back down and met face to face with 2 undead dogs. They got a few good bites in on me, I'll be honest, but that did not stop me from rushing through her home and grabbing a few pieces of clothing. While not enough to save me from frostbite, it made me feel a little bit better. Dogs actually don't know how to open doors, so I made my way to the next home, checking the bathrooms for antibiotics I desperately needed. I instead found even more clothing, particularly a compression top and a scarf. After that, I thought it'd be best to lay low for a bit in an unoccupied basement. Waiting and just kind of wandering around in the dark basement for a few minutes should have done the trick. And that it has. With no enemies on my back, I decided my best chance of survival would be going towards the evac shelter right outside of town. If I'm lucky, there will be food, water, and a few warm jackets there. And that is where I met the only other human around the area. Harold Woodson, a scavenger who made it to the evac shelter before I did. Don't come any closer! This right here is a fantastic opportunity for trash, so long as he doesn't blow my brains out with his M1911 pistol. He has a whole set of clothing right now, which would do real nice on my own character. For now, we can play it cool and ask if he needs help. Did you know that cattails are a source of a jelly that works as an antiseptic, and I'm not saying that? Something like that is likely to be helpful out there. I want you to take this bag, head to the nearest swamp, collect 80 cattail stalks, and bring them back here. In exchange, I'll show you how to harvest the jelly. Yeah, I'll do it. Great. This bag should be big enough to hold all the stalks we'll need. Don't forget to bring it back. Yeah, right, bozo. Trash was going to keep this bag until he or Harold dies. It's a real great thing to have, all that carry capacity. After that, I went through the entire refugee center and searched for medical supplies. All I found was the occasional food ration and some first aid kits, which sadly didn't have any antibiotics. So, the search goes on, and I guess we can go check out the nearby town then as well. Maybe we can even lead back some zombies for old Harold to fight. I really want his clothes and his shoes. So we make our way over to the town, enter the first home, break the ankles of the previous resident, then I accidentally aggroed a zombie dog. I then promptly climb onto the roof. And this is where we have our first conundrum. We can either run back to the evac shelter to try and wait out the infection, which is a solid 30% chance, or we become a hero and continue deeper into the town. Mistakenly, I chose the latter option. I got worn down by sprinting and hopping a stone fence, and I got grabbed by a fat zombie and ripped to shreds. Honestly, I blame Harold, that no good high-strength piece of shit. Okay, this one is definitely different. Trash is currently naked in a ruined gun store, surrounded by actual human corpses. Well, I hope we can find ourselves a gun, which would be a real nice and welcome surprise. And looking around, we do have ourselves a CZ-75 in the corner. With the zombies converging into my location, I think it's the best chance I have. Thankfully, it does have ammo, and a full magazine at that. I mean, we still are naked in a gun store surrounded by dead bodies, but now we have a gun. And judging from the amount of zombies that have entered the store, we should probably see ourselves through the back. And of course, there's a flesh bag to meet us there. Sure, there's an open exit right to our side there, but I think it'd be finally nice to return the favor of death. And that, right there, is our first kill of the challenge. It only took 4 tries and a, gun, but we got there. And now that we are here, it's time to leave, and fast. I'm wagering our best chance of survival is to run through their homes quickly, picking up all the clothing on the way. As long as we're faster than the zombies, we got nothing to worry about. Especially when you can easily yoink a free winter coat on the way out. Not only that, but I think we just found our getaway vehicle. A mountain bike that's in drivable condition. Everything's there, and, I mean, everyone knows how to drive a bike, right? Oh, fun fact. Trash is so weak that we don't even have the strength to pedal the damn thing. Welcome to Life 5. We are currently within the rural town of Kennesbucket. At this point, you already know the deal. We loot everything we can in our starter home and start to chart our course out of here while avoiding the undead. And up to the roofs we go. Looking around, we don't have a lot of real locations that would be worth looting aside from the occasional house, but it seems like we may have caught a small break. That right there, making all that noise and ruckus, is a riot control platform used for crowd control. It seems like it's defenseless and out of ammo, but more importantly, it's a distraction for the undead, which allows us to loot relatively safe from the danger. That thing should last for a while, seeing how it's made of metal, and zombies are too weak to deal any real damage to it. Thanks to it, the surrounding area is pretty clear. We can go ahead, loot this home and the clothing store, picking up some nice fur boots and a sleeveless trench coat as well. All we really need right now is a vehicle. And as crazy as it sounds, I think our best bet is going to be the police blockade that currently has the zombies near it. They're going to be too busy focusing on the turrets to even notice old Trash. Oh yeah. And the real beauty about these events is that the cars and surrounding loot is free pickings once the turrets are out of ammo. So all we really need is a tiny bit of luck, and I think we'll be golden. The first car is a bust with a faulty engine, especially with there being a zombie child trying to bite my ankles off. Second car as well, same problem, faulty engine. The third car actually freaking works! Yes! This is luck we've needed. With this bad boy starting up, we can reverse and get the hell out of this town looking for greener pastures. There isn't a whole lot of fuel in this thing, so we are going to need to find either A, a replacement car, or B, a nice place to stop for extra fuel. The one good thing is that we also have acquired our first real weapon. Nothing like a little bit of vehicular manslaughter, especially to make up for a weak and pitiful and disease-ridden body such as Trash's. Driving down, we have come across something pretty interesting. You see this little mushroom guy right here? He may seem quite unassuming and not dangerous at all, but he is far more terrifying than any zombie we've come across today. Oh God! What happened here? But, for now, in its early stages, this is a really good sign, because these fungal freaks and the zombies both hate each other, which means an opportunistic scavenger, me, can use this faction war to get in, get some supplies, and get out without having to fight a single thing. These mushrooms are slow and relatively docile, so I can easily navigate around them compared to a group of zombies. The main thing is going to be looking in bathrooms for antibiotics and bedrooms for extra clothing. If zombies get aggroed on us, we can use our marathon running ability to try and lead them back to the mushrooms, and the rest is history. Getting pretty lucky with some finds, we find ourselves a ski mask, a cotton hat, and a scarf. Despite looking like a wreck, we are a little bit more warm. On top of that luck, I spy with my little eye an electric solar-powered car in one of these garages here. Sadly, no antibiotics, but with this new car, we do have a new vehicle to drive to the next town over with without having to worry about running out of fuel because this bad boy is solar-powered. We still have a lot of the day left and I'm feeling quite a bit more confident. And if all else fails, we can always use the car as a makeshift battering ram to kill zombies with. It seems like the mushroom plague has its grasp here, which means another easy and risk-free looting trip for old Trash. There aren't any real standout locations in this small town, so we're just gonna have to get lucky with a home. House 1 was unassuming for the most part. That was until I entered the garage, which in there was a mint condition SUV filled up with gas and ready to drive. Ought to take this bad boy over the electric any day of the week, so now we have ourselves a reliable and very filled up vehicle. The only problem was that there was a zombie inside it, which I can just easily lead back to the fungal freaks. In the basement though, was a very nice little setup with a tent and a backpack with supplies. I noted this for later because this would be a very good spot to sleep and camp out in later. Moving on to the other homes, we find ourselves a couple of baseball bats, which are going to be the best weapons we can get our hands on currently, so Trash decides to equip the metal one. Aside from those two homes, there are still clumps of zombies near the southern end of this town, which means we do have to round up these zombies and send them into the fungal gauntlet. It went well for the most part. The only problem was one pesky zombie staying a little bit too close to me. This was going to be do or die. If Trash couldn't kill this single, alone zombie with a bat, the entire run would be for nothing. This simple one-on-one is a fight for Trash's life because of how terrible our stats are. But that doesn't stop the champ from destroying that bozo. A few swings, and that marks our first real melee kill for the entire video. Despite winning it, our entire body is in a world of hurt, so that will be the only fight we will ever get ourselves into. Let's get out of here and continue looting before the others lose interest in the mushrooms. Looting boasted us just about nothing for the most part, as we avoid the fresh fungal zones. But all it takes is a little bit of luck, and we finally struck gold. Inside this bathroom, we find ourselves 5 antibiotic pills and a couple of bandages. We were truly in the home stretch. All we gotta do now is take our meds, cross our fingers that Trash's immune system takes over, and wait it all out. I decided the best spot to actually shelter would be the basement of the SUV house. Caring to shut the garage doors before sleeping to prevent the fungal spread, we launch ourselves into the basement. And here, we are truly safe and sound. Thankfully, we grabbed some food outside, and for water, you can just drink from the basement's water heater. The only thing left to do is wrap ourselves in a sleeping bag and get inside the tent, snug as a bug. And finally, we can take our antibiotics and win this challenge once and for all. Maybe this is a placebo effect, but you feel a little bit better as the dose settles in. The only thing left to do is to try and get some sleep, and that's exactly what I did. I don't know for how long, because I didn't have a clock, but all Trash really did was roll around and cough in his sleep for an indeterminate amount of time. This was the most tense moment, because we could still die at this point, but I had faith that it would all work out. I used the time awake between naps to take another antibiotic and treat my other wounds. And after the second full rest, we finally recovered from the infection that ruined our 4 other attempts. This was a really good feeling, probably one of the best feelings I've had in a while. The equivalent to cracking open a fresh, chilled soda. We were finally free and recovering from our infection, which I would say beats the challenge. We have warm clothes, food, water, a mint condition car, and most importantly, our life in our own hands. And it did look like the fungus took over a little bit, so I took that as my cue to leave this hell zone that also treated me fairly well. I'm genuinely really happy that we could finally end things off on a high note. I don't know where the journey will go after this, but anything is better than it was. A very, very bad day indeed.